Imagine a place where time folds in on itself, where human progress falters at the edge of an ancient, whispering wilderness. It's a landscape of breathtaking beauty and chilling indifference, a vast labyrinth where secrets are swallowed by sawgrass and murky waters. We often believe nothing truly vanishes without a trace, yet some stories defy this conviction, echoing the primal fear of the unknown, the sudden absence of a person. This isn't just a tale of two individuals lost. It's an exploration into disappearance, the environment's power to conceal, and the unsettling truth that sometimes an answer only deepens the mystery. For nearly 3 decades, the names Stephen and Susanna Thompson have been whispered in Florida's most haunting cold cases. In 1996, they ventured into the Everglades, but it delivered an enigma. They simply vanished. Search parties scoured the endless expanse, yet the swamp yielded nothing, no distress signal, no wreckage, no personal effects, just an eerie, absolute silence. Their story became a chilling testament to the Everglades' capacity to absorb, to erase, leaving a void filled by speculation and the quiet despair of loved ones. 28 years passed. The world moved on, yet the Thompson mystery remained a persistent, gnawing ache. The case had long settled into the cold file cabinet of unsolved disappearances. Then, against all odds, a discovery emerged from time and tangled vegetation, defying logic and reanimating a dormant nightmare. A single rope, weathered but steadfast, was found clinging to an ancient cypress, the same rope that had secured their small skiff. There it was, slowly decaying under the relentless sun, precisely where it had been tied. A ghost ship, waiting patiently, eerily preserved, offering an almost impossible link to that fateful day. The scene was a paradox, a vessel missing so long now found, yet its very presence only intensified profound questions surrounding Stephen and Susanna's fate. This wasn't closure, it ripped open old wounds and introduced bewildering queries. How could a boat remain virtually untouched in such a dynamic, destructive environment for nearly 3 decades? What force prevented it from being swept away by hurricanes, floods, or scavenged? More critically, if their transport was still there, what became of its occupants? The skiff provided a shocking answer to one question, but it left investigators grappling with a more haunting set of questions about what truly transpired amidst the whispered secrets of the swamp. This extraordinary event compels us to look beyond immediate facts, delving into the deeper implications of such an enduring mystery. It challenges our understanding of time, preservation, and how environments hold secrets. It forces us to confront the limits of human investigation against the vast, indifferent forces of nature. For those who yearn for answers, this discovery represents a flicker of hope intertwined with a renewed, agonizing uncertainty. It's a chilling reminder that even in an age of advanced forensics, some places still guard their truths with impenetrable silence, turning a closed chapter into an open-ended, bewildering narrative. Our journey into this perplexing case will take us through the ecological marvels and formidable dangers of the Everglades, exploring how such a unique environment could both conceal and reveal. We will examine the human element, the psychology of disappearance, the enduring impact on families, and the relentless pursuit of truth against overwhelming odds. We will consider the scientific possibilities behind the boat's preservation and the myriad theories that emerge when facts are scarce and questions abound. This isn't merely a recounting, it's an invitation to ponder profound mysteries, to explore the thin veil between what is known and what forever remains lost in the wild heart of an untamed world. Delving deeper into this unique environment, we confront the very essence of the Everglades, a vast, primordial stage that has shaped countless narratives of human endeavor and vulnerability. Its origins are deeply rooted in geological antiquity, a sprawling freshwater wetland sculpted over millennia atop a bedrock of porous limestone. This isn't merely a swamp, It's a slow-moving, shallow river, sometimes described as a river of grass, stretching over 100 miles wide. The foundational limestone, riddled with solution holes and subterranean channels, creates a landscape of deceptive stability. What appears as solid ground can often be a thin crust over deep, water-filled caverns, or a treacherous mix of marl and muck that swallows with silent efficiency. This unique hydrological system, with its subtly shifting currents and fluctuating water levels, fundamentally dictates how objects and individuals interact with its vast expanse. Beyond its geological underpinnings, the ecological complexity of the Everglades further compounds its enigmatic nature. Imagine an intricate tapestry woven from dense sawgrass prairies, towering cypress domes, and impenetrable mangrove forests along its coastal fringes. This isn't a place of clearings and landmarks. It's an endless vista of repetitive patterns where one cypress island looks much like another, and the horizon is perpetually obscured by thick vegetation. Consequently, navigation becomes an arduous, disorienting endeavor, even for those equipped with modern technology. The sheer scale, coupled with the absence of distinct visual cues, can quickly lead even experienced outdoors enthusiasts astray, turning a short journey into an existential struggle against an indifferent wilderness. Historically, this formidable landscape was viewed with a mixture of reverence and trepidation. Indigenous peoples, such as the Seminole and Miccosukee tribes, developed an intimate generational understanding of its rhythms and secrets, navigating its waterways with unparalleled skill and respect. Their knowledge was a map etched into their very being, a stark contrast to the early European explorers and settlers who often underestimated its power. For them, the Everglades represented a final, untamed frontier, a place to be conquered, or more often, a place where the unprepared met their match. This historical context underscores the Everglades' enduring reputation as a realm where the lost often remain lost, a testament to its capacity to absorb human presence without a trace. Furthermore, the very dynamics of this ecosystem contribute profoundly to its concealing capabilities. The warm, humid climate, coupled with the acidic waters, accelerates natural processes of decomposition. Organic matter breaks down rapidly, and submerged items are quickly integrated into the ever-shifting substrate of silt, decaying vegetation, and detritus. A boat, for instance, could become trapped in a cypress stand, gradually sinking into the soft bottom as the water level fluctuates, or be slowly enveloped by the encroaching sawgrass and mud. The constant churn of life and decay means that remnants, if not completely dissolved, are often buried, hidden beneath layers of new growth and sediment, effectively erasing their superficial presence. The relentless activity of the Everglades' abundant wildlife also plays a role in the rapid dispersal or alteration of evidence. Alligators, various bird species, and countless insects are integral to the food chain, acting as nature's cleanup crew. While this is a vital part of the ecosystem's health, it means that any human trace, whether organic remains or discarded items, faces an immediate and pervasive force of reclamation. This natural recycling mechanism, combined with the environment's immense scale and its challenging terrain, creates a perfect storm for the permanent concealment of anything that enters its domain, transforming the very act of disappearance into a deeply woven part of its lore. This profound context explains why the Everglades has always been, and continues to be, a place where the line between existence and oblivion can be disturbingly thin. The startling discovery of the Thompson skiff, after nearly 3 decades, pivots our inquiry from the act of vanishing to the enigma of preservation within an environment designed for decay. Now consider the profound implications of this survival. The small boat, likely a fiberglass skiff common for Everglades exploration, possessed an inherent resilience. Fiberglass, a composite material, resists rot, rust, and insect damage far more effectively than traditional wood or metal. Its degradation is primarily a function of UV exposure, physical abrasion, and osmotic blistering, yet the boat's resting place appears to have mitigated many of these factors. Investigators meticulously documented the scene, revealing a microenvironment that acted as an improbable time capsule. The skiff was found within a cypress dome, a distinctive Everglades feature where cypress trees grow in a circular pattern, with taller trees at the center and shorter ones at the periphery, forming a natural basin. This specific location, nestled deep within such a dome, would have offered substantial shelter. The dense canopy above would have dramatically reduced direct sunlight, thus minimizing the UV radiation that breaks down plastics and paints. Furthermore, the dome's position likely shielded the boat from the most destructive forces of hurricanes and tropical storms, which typically batter exposed areas, sweeping debris into the Gulf or across the vast prairies. Another crucial layer to this astonishing preservation lies in the water chemistry and sediment. Many parts of the Everglades feature tannin-rich, slightly acidic waters, stained brown by decaying vegetation. These conditions can act as a natural preservative, slowing down bacterial activity and the decomposition of organic materials. Moreover, the skiff was likely partially submerged in the thick anoxic muck that characterizes these wetlands. Oxygen-deprived environments severely inhibit the microbial processes responsible for decomposition, effectively pickling items rather than allowing them to rot. This specific combination of factors, shelter, reduced UV and anoxic acidic water, created a unique crucible for the boat's unexpected endurance. The single rope, weathered but steadfast, clinging to the ancient cypress, offers its own set of compelling details. This wasn't merely a piece of discarded cordage. It was the specific mooring line, suggesting a deliberate and secure tie-off. Its survival points to a robust material, perhaps a synthetic fiber like nylon or polypropylene, known for its resistance to rot and marine organisms. The fact that it remained firmly attached to the tree for 28 years indicates not only the rope's durability, but also a remarkably stable water level at that specific mooring point, or at least one that didn't consistently submerge the knot beyond its breaking point or expose it to forces that would tear it free. This detail fundamentally contradicts the image of a boat accidentally adrift or swept away. It implies a planned stop, an intentional securing of the vessel. Intriguingly, while the boat itself offered this tangible link, the absence of any personal effects, no wallets, phones, fishing gear, or even signs of a struggle, presents a stark, unsettling void. This lack of incidental items, typically found in such vessels, suggests a scenario far more complex than simple abandonment or accidental capsizing where items might scatter. Instead, it propels the investigation into theories concerning a deliberate departure from the vessel, or perhaps an external, unseen force at play that left the boat untouched, but its occupants without a trace. The skiff, therefore, stands as a silent sentinel, a concrete artifact that raises more questions about the how and why of the Thompsons' departure from it, rather than offering a simple explanation for their disappearance. The finding of the skiff, rather than providing a neat conclusion, instantly transformed the entire investigative paradigm. Law enforcement agencies, initially faced with an open-ended missing persons case, now confronted a scene frozen in time, demanding a completely reoriented approach. The initial despair of a vast, trackless search gave way to a focused, albeit perplexing, ground zero. Specialized search and rescue teams, some of whom had been involved in the original 1996 efforts, were redeployed, now equipped with advanced sonar, ground-penetrating radar, and cadaver dogs, all tasked with systematically combing the immediate vicinity of the discovered vessel. This wasn't merely a revisit, it was a forensic excavation of a single, crucial point in a boundless wilderness. Despite the boat's physical presence, the passage of nearly 3 decades presented immense forensic hurdles. While the fiberglass hull offered some resilience, the elements had undoubtedly stripped away most superficial evidence. DNA, if present, would be severely degraded, requiring highly sensitive techniques to extract and analyze. Fingerprints, typically ephemeral, would likely have vanished entirely, eroded by rain, sun, and the abrasive action of plant life. Nevertheless, investigators sought microscopic clues, residual fibers, minute biological traces in crevices, or even tool marks that might speak to a struggle or a deliberate act. This meticulous process was a race against time's continued erosion, even for a scene held captive for so long. This discovery fundamentally rewrote the initial narrative of the Thompsons' disappearance. Previously, the prevailing assumption was that they, along with their vessel, had succumbed to the vastness, perhaps capsizing, sinking, or being swept away. Now the intact boat firmly anchored suggested a deliberate disembarkment. This shifted the focal point of their vanishing from the arrival in the Everglades to a point after they secured their craft. The question evolved from what happened to their boat to what happened after they left their boat. This distinction is critical, redirecting the entire scope of inquiry towards the immediate surroundings of the Cypress Dome and the motives or circumstances that compelled them to leave their seemingly functional transport behind. For the Thompson family, the skiff's reappearance was a cruel twist of fate, a resurgence of hope inextricably linked with renewed agony. The almost 3 decades of quiet, resigned grief were abruptly shattered, replaced by a torrent of fresh questions and the agonizing realization that the mystery was far from resolved. Investigators, too, felt the weight of this renewed challenge. The case, once a cold file, was now intensely hot, demanding a fresh perspective and an unwavering commitment, yet offering no easy answers. The psychological toll of grappling with such an elusive truth, especially after so long, underscores the profound human need for closure, a need that this discovery both promised and withheld. The very presence of the boat, devoid of its occupants, immediately spawned a host of new, often conflicting theories. Did they venture further into the swamp on foot, perhaps seeking help after an engine failure, only to become hopelessly lost? Was there an encounter with another party, leading to foul play, with their bodies subsequently removed from the scene? Could they have been picked up by another vessel, and if so, why was their boat left behind? The intact mooring rope, a symbol of deliberate intent, made accidental drift or immediate capsizing less plausible. Consequently, the focus expanded from the boat itself to the immediate concentric circles around its location, prompting a re-examination of every possible path or scenario that might have unfolded after they stepped onto or near solid ground. This shifted the search from a random grid to a more targeted, albeit still challenging, radial pattern. The re-emergence of the skiff, after nearly 3 decades, did more than merely reactivate a cold case. It plunged investigators into a labyrinth of historical challenges and societal misconceptions, fundamentally altering their operational landscape. Consider for a moment the profound erosion of human memory over such an extended period. Witnesses, if still alive and reachable, often recall events through a distorted lens, their initial observations colored by subsequent narratives, personal biases, or the simple, cruel passage of time. Precise details, the exact time of day, the specific color of a shirt, the direction of a passing boat, become hazy, fragmented, or even entirely fabricated as the brain attempts to fill in gaps. This phenomenon creates a formidable obstacle, as the initial fresh information, once vital, is now compromised, requiring an intricate and cautious re-evaluation of every statement. Furthermore, the very nature of investigative documentation from 1996 presents its own set of hurdles. While modern police work benefits from digital records, extensive databases, and rapid information sharing, the original Thompson case would have been meticulously recorded on paper files, photographs, and perhaps early digital formats that are now obsolete. Retrieving, cross-referencing, and digitizing these archives for new analytical tools is a monumental task, prone to errors, omissions, and the sheer physical degradation of documents. The institutional memory, too, fades. Many of the original officers, detectives, and search and rescue personnel have retired or passed away, taking with them invaluable first-hand knowledge and nuanced understandings of the initial search efforts. Beyond the procedural, the public often harbors certain myths about disappearances in the wild. One pervasive misconception is the belief that nature always provides a body, or that if a person vanishes in an environment like the Everglades, an animal attack is the definitive answer. While wildlife, particularly alligators, are indeed formidable predators and scavengers, their role in erasing human remains is frequently exaggerated in popular culture. The reality is far more complex. Bodies can be carried far by currents, become entrapped in dense vegetation, sink into deep muck, or be completely decomposed by a myriad of environmental factors including bacteria, insects, and smaller scavengers, often without a single, dramatic animal intervention. The absence of remains does not automatically imply a specific, sensational cause. It often simply signifies the overwhelming efficiency of natural processes. Conversely, another common misconception centers on the infallibility of modern forensics, often termed the CSI effect. There's an expectation that advanced DNA techniques or fingerprint analysis, even after decades, should yield definitive answers. The truth, however, is that environmental factors like prolonged water exposure, extreme temperatures, and microbial activity rapidly degrade most biological evidence. While new technologies can extract minute traces, they operate within the harsh realities of what the environment has left behind, which is often very little. The public's desire for a clear, scientific resolution frequently clashes with the ambiguous, incomplete data available from a scene weathered by 28 years of sun, rain, and swamp life. This collision of expectation and reality often fuels controversies and conflicting theories. When concrete evidence is scarce, speculation flourishes. Armchair detectives, fueled by true crime narratives, often propose elaborate scenarios involving foul play, secret rendezvous, or even bizarre accidents, sometimes overlooking the simplest explanations or the inherent dangers of the environment itself. This can create a cacophony of voices, sometimes hindering professional investigators who must sift through plausible leads versus sensational, unsubstantiated claims. The challenge, then, lies not only in uncovering the truth, but in managing the narrative, distinguishing between informed hypothesis and speculative fiction, all while respecting the profound grief of those still yearning for answers. Such a long dormant case, suddenly reawakened, underscores the enduring power of the unknown to both captivate and confound, reminding us that some mysteries are so deeply woven into the fabric of the wild, they may never fully unravel. The re-emergence of the skiff, after nearly 3 decades, did more than merely reactivate a cold case. It plunged investigators into a labyrinth of historical challenges and societal misconceptions, fundamentally altering their operational landscape. Consider for a moment the profound erosion of human memory over such an extended period. Witnesses, if still alive and reachable, often recall events through a distorted lens, their initial observations colored by subsequent narratives, personal biases, or the simple, cruel passage of time. Precise details, the exact time of day, the specific color of a shirt, the direction of a passing boat, become hazy, fragmented, or even entirely fabricated as the brain attempts to fill in gaps. This phenomenon creates a formidable obstacle, as the initial fresh information, once vital, is now compromised, requiring an intricate and cautious re-evaluation of every statement. Furthermore, the very nature of investigative documentation from 1996 presents its own set of hurdles. While modern police work benefits from digital records, extensive databases, and rapid information sharing, the original Thompson case would have been meticulously recorded on paper files, photographs, and perhaps early digital formats that are now obsolete. Retrieving, cross-referencing, and digitizing these archives for new analytical tools is a monumental task, prone to errors, omissions, and the sheer physical degradation of documents. The institutional memory, too, fades. Many of the original officers, detectives, and search and rescue personnel have retired or passed away, taking with them invaluable first-hand knowledge and nuanced understandings of the initial search efforts. Beyond the procedural, the public often harbors certain myths about disappearances in the wild. One pervasive misconception is the belief that nature always provides a body, or that if a person vanishes in an environment like the Everglades, an animal attack is the definitive answer. While wildlife, particularly alligators, are indeed formidable predators and scavengers, their role in erasing human remains is frequently exaggerated in popular culture. The reality is far more complex. Bodies can be carried far by currents, become entrapped in dense vegetation, sink into deep muck, or be completely decomposed by a myriad of environmental factors, including bacteria, insects, and smaller scavengers, often without a single dramatic animal intervention. The absence of remains does not automatically imply a specific sensational cause. It often simply signifies the overwhelming efficiency of natural processes. Conversely, another common misconception centers on the infallibility of modern forensics, often termed the CSI effect. There's an expectation that advanced DNA techniques or fingerprint analysis, even after decades, should yield definitive answers. The truth, however, is that environmental factors like prolonged water exposure, extreme temperatures, and microbial activity rapidly degrade most biological evidence. While new technologies can extract minute traces, they operate within the harsh realities of what the environment has left behind, which is often very little. The public's desire for a clear, scientific resolution frequently clashes with the ambiguous, incomplete data available from a scene weathered by 28 years of sun, rain, and swamp life. This collision of expectation and reality often fuels controversies and conflicting theories. When concrete evidence is scarce, speculation flourishes. Armchair detectives, fueled by true crime narratives, often propose elaborate scenarios involving foul play, secret rendezvous, or even bizarre accidents, sometimes overlooking the simplest explanations or the inherent dangers of the environment itself. This can create a cacophony of voices, sometimes hindering professional investigators who must sift through plausible leads versus sensational, unsubstantiated claims. The challenge, then, lies not only in uncovering the truth, but in managing the narrative, distinguishing between informed hypothesis and speculative fiction, all while respecting the profound grief of those still yearning for answers. Such a long dormant case, suddenly reawakened, underscores the enduring power of the unknown to both captivate and confound, reminding us that some mysteries are so deeply woven into the fabric of the wild, they may never fully unravel. Now consider the immense logistical and financial strain this enduring mystery places on public resources. Sustaining a multi-decade search effort in a remote, protected wilderness like the Everglades demands an extraordinary commitment of personnel, specialized equipment, and funds. Every renewed push for answers, while vital for the families, diverts resources from contemporary cases and ongoing environmental management. How do agencies justify these considerable expenditures for a cold case when new disappearances surface regularly, each demanding immediate attention? It's a perpetual ethical tightrope walk, balancing the deep human need for closure against the practicalities of finite public budgets. Furthermore, the legal landscape surrounding such prolonged disappearances introduces its own set of complexities. When a person vanishes without a trace, eventually, a presumption of death can be legally declared, often after a specific period, allowing for the settlement of estates and the psychological closure of a final status. However, the discovery of the Thompsons' skiff, a tangible link suggesting their deliberate departure from the boat, throws this legal finality into disarray. Does the presumption of death still hold the same weight when new, ambiguous evidence suggests an entirely different, perhaps ongoing, scenario? This ambiguity can leave families in a legal and emotional limbo, unable to fully move forward, perpetually tied to the ghost of a possibility. Moreover, a distinct societal myth, often fueled by tales of hermits or renegades, posits that vast, untamed areas like the Everglades are ideal havens for those who wish to disappear, or for nefarious activities to be conducted beyond the reach of law. While the vastness certainly offers concealment, the idea of a secret, self-sustaining community or a covert operation thriving undetected for decades is largely a romanticized fantasy. The harsh realities of survival in such an environment demand specific skills, immense resilience, and a consistent supply chain, making prolonged, unnoticed habitation by ordinary individuals highly improbable. Yet this narrative persists, adding another layer of speculative noise to an already complex investigation. Building on this, the psychological burden on the investigators themselves becomes an often overlooked challenge. Imagine dedicating years, perhaps even entire careers, to chasing shadows, only for a partial answer to emerge, reigniting the chase. This isn't merely a professional duty, it becomes a deeply personal quest, fraught with frustration, the weight of family hopes, and the gnawing feeling of an unfinished puzzle. The ethical considerations of continuing to raise hopes for grieving families after so long, only to potentially deliver more questions, underscores the profound human cost borne by those tasked with unraveling such enduring enigmas. The popular conception of a golden hour for missing persons, a critical window for successful recovery, undergoes a profound distortion when applied to an environment as formidable as the Everglades. Unlike urban settings, where a rapid response can often cordon off areas and deploy concentrated resources, the vast, undifferentiated expanse of the River of Grass fundamentally resists such immediate, targeted action. Initial search efforts, however valiant, are not merely hampered by resource availability, a point we've explored, but by the very nature of the terrain itself. Imagine attempting to track a faint scent or spot a distant anomaly across miles of dense sawgrass, through cypress swamps where visibility shrinks to mere feet, and over water that constantly shifts and obscures. The absence of clear pathways, coupled with the homogeneous visual landscape, means that even within that crucial initial time frame, a search party can expend immense energy covering ground that offers no distinct cues, diluting the effectiveness of early intervention. This isn't a matter of delayed response, but of the environment dictating its own unforgiving timeline. Furthermore, while technological advancements have undeniably revolutionized modern search and rescue, the Everglades presents unique limitations that even cutting-edge equipment struggles to overcome. Sonar, effective in open water, loses much of its precision in shallow, vegetation-choked channels or over a bottom comprised of thick, anoxic muck that absorbs sound waves. Thermal imaging, invaluable for detecting heat signatures, is often rendered less effective by the dense canopy that obscures line of sight, or by the ambient heat and humidity that can create false positives or mask human presence amidst animal life. Even sophisticated drones, offering an aerial perspective, contend with the visual monotony of endless green, making it exceptionally difficult to differentiate a small, submerged object or a camouflaged individual from the natural patterns of the landscape. The human element remains paramount. The interpretation of ambiguous data, the sheer physical endurance required to navigate such terrain, and the experience to discern subtle anomalies are skills that technology, for all its prowess, cannot fully replicate in this specific wilderness. Beyond the immediate investigative challenges, the enduring mystery of Stephen and Susanna Thompson has undoubtedly woven itself into the fabric of local lore, subtly altering the collective consciousness of communities bordering the Everglades. Such unresolved disappearances transcend mere news stories. They become cautionary tales whispered around campfires, influencing how residents and visitors alike perceive the perceived safety of the wilderness. This can manifest as a heightened sense of vigilance, a greater respect for the swamp's unpredictable nature, or even a morbid fascination that contributes to the mystique of the region. The lingering question mark over the Thompsons' fate doesn't just impact their loved ones. It subtly shapes the psychological landscape for anyone venturing into those waters, embedding a tangible sense of the unknown into the very air. It transforms a natural wonder into a place imbued with a deeper, more unsettling significance, where the boundary between adventure and existential peril feels unnervingly thin. The skiff's reappearance, rather than dispelling these local legends, likely intensified them, reaffirming the swamp's capacity to both guard and reveal its ancient, unsettling secrets on its own inscrutable terms. It is often posited that places like the Everglades, with their immense scale and concealing power, represent the ideal canvas for the perfect crime, a location where evidence can be utterly erased and perpetrators can vanish without a trace. Yet this notion, while compelling in its dramatic simplicity, frequently overlooks the inherent complexities and unexpected vulnerabilities that even the most remote wilderness presents. The very forces of nature that obscure can also, paradoxically, preserve or eventually reveal. A sudden shift in water levels, an unusual storm surge, or the chance encounter by an unrelated party can expose what was thought to be permanently hidden. The Everglades, despite its reputation, is not a static vault. It is a dynamic, living system, and its unpredictability can be as much a foe to concealment as it is an aid. The Thompson skiff's discovery vividly illustrates this counterpoint. What was meant to disappear, or perhaps was left in an assumed state of oblivion, ultimately re-emerged, defying the very premise of absolute secrecy. For the surviving family members, the reignition of the Thompson case after nearly 3 decades brings forth a particularly agonizing form of suffering known as ambiguous loss. Unlike conventional grief, which eventually finds a pathway to resolution, ambiguous loss traps individuals in a perpetual state of uncertainty. There is no body to mourn, no definitive answer to provide closure, and now, with the boat's reappearance, even the presumed narrative of what occurred is shattered. This creates a psychological limbo where hope and despair intertwine, preventing the necessary emotional processes of acceptance and moving forward. The family is forced to oscillate between the faint possibility of their loved ones still being alive and the renewed, haunting confirmation of their absence, a torment that is unique in its protracted, unresolved nature. Furthermore, the renewed investigation faces a daunting practical challenge in distinguishing genuine leads from a deluge of red herrings and false positives. When a high-profile cold case reopens, it often attracts a surge of public interest, leading to a flood of tips, some well-intentioned but misguided, others born of pure speculation or even malicious intent. In an environment as vast and undifferentiated as the Everglades, even seemingly plausible information can send search teams on exhaustive, fruitless expeditions, draining precious resources and time. A reported sighting of a specific type of boat, a vague description of an individual, or a misinterpreted environmental anomaly can consume days of highly specialized effort, diverting attention from the few, truly pertinent clues that might emerge from the painstaking forensic analysis of the skiff itself. Adding another layer of complexity, the very act of conducting an intensive search in the Everglades presents an ethical tightrope walk concerning environmental conservation. This vast wetland is a federally protected national park, home to numerous endangered species and fragile ecosystems. Any large-scale search operation involving heavy equipment, extensive foot traffic, or prolonged human presence carries the inherent risk of disturbing sensitive habitats, disrupting wildlife, or inadvertently damaging the very natural resources that the park is designed to preserve. Consequently, investigators must meticulously balance the imperative to solve a human mystery with their responsibility as stewards of a delicate natural wonder, often necessitating compromises on the intensity or scope of search methodologies that might be employed in less sensitive areas. Finally, the vacuum left by an enduring mystery like the Thompsons often becomes fertile ground for the proliferation of conspiracy theories. When official explanations are incomplete and tangible answers remain elusive, the human mind naturally seeks more elaborate, often sinister, narratives. These can range from unsubstantiated claims of drug cartel involvement to government cover-ups, or even suggestions of supernatural phenomena at play in the swamp. Such theories, while offering a sense of explanatory completeness to some, can unfortunately muddy the investigative waters, creating noise that distracts from credible lines of inquiry and adding to the emotional burden on the families, who must contend not only with their loss but also with often outlandish public speculation about their loved one's fate. Ultimately, the saga of Stephen and Susanna Thompson transcends the boundaries of a mere police investigation. It morphs into a profound reflection on the human condition itself, particularly our relentless quest for certainty in an inherently uncertain world. Why do such stories, where threads of truth dangle tantalizingly yet remain unbound, captivate us so completely? Perhaps it's because they mirror our deepest anxieties about control, about the fragile illusion of order we construct around our lives. A vanishing act, especially one punctuated by such an enigmatic discovery, challenges the very tenets of our predictable existence, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable reality that some questions may simply have no definitive answers, or at least none that are readily accessible to our current understanding. The Everglades, in this narrative, ceases to be merely a setting and instead transforms into a powerful archetype of untamed nature's dominion over human ambition and presence. It stands as a silent, ancient witness, holding secrets not out of malice, but out of its sheer indifferent scale and perpetual cycle of life and decay. The boat, a man-made artifact designed for passage, becoming a relic of stasis, speaks volumes about the limits of our technology and our will when pitted against the raw, unyielding power of the natural world. It invites us to ponder the ecological wisdom embedded in such wild places, where time operates on a different clock and human timelines often prove fleeting. This particular mystery, where a tangible object re-emerges only to deepen the void, serves as a potent reminder that not all discoveries lead to resolution. Sometimes the unearthing of a piece of the puzzle merely reveals the true daunting scale of the missing pieces. It compels us to re-evaluate our definitions of finding. Is it truly a discovery if it offers no solace, no path forward, but instead introduces a fresh wave of unsettling questions? The skiff, therefore, is less a key and more a philosophical anchor, tethering us to a story that resists conventional narrative closure, urging us to sit with the discomfort of the unresolved. Consider the enduring psychological impact such an open-ended narrative imprints upon the broader societal psyche. Beyond the immediate anguish of the family, the lingering mystery becomes a collective tale, a shared contemplation of human vulnerability. It echoes in the quiet moments of adventurers venturing into similar wildlands, a silent caveat against overconfidence. These unresolved stories underscore the inherent human drive to seek patterns, to impose meaning, even when confronted with chaos. The absence of a definitive explanation for Stephen and Susanna's fate becomes a canvas onto which we project our own fears, hopes, and philosophical musings about destiny and the unknown. The very act of continuing to pursue answers, even after decades, speaks to an inherent human tenacity, a refusal to simply concede to the silence. It reinforces the value of persistent inquiry, not solely for the sake of factual resolution, but for the inherent worth of curiosity itself. Each detail, unearthed, however small, however ambiguous, contributes to a larger tapestry of understanding, even if that understanding is primarily about the limits of our knowledge. This relentless pursuit, this intellectual and emotional odyssey, affirms our fundamental desire to connect with the past, to honor those who have vanished, and to learn whatever lessons the universe might offer, however cryptic they may be. So as we reflect on the weathered rope and the ghost ship in the heart of the Everglades, we are left not with a neat conclusion, but with an invitation to embrace the enduring power of the unknown, to appreciate the profound stories etched into the landscape, and to cultivate a deeper sense of wonder for a world that still holds secrets beyond our grasp. The Thompson mystery, in its enduring ambiguity, becomes a testament to the fact that some narratives are not designed to end, but rather to perpetually unfold in the quiet chambers of our collective imagination, prompting us to remain curious, forever asking, what else lies hidden just beyond the edge of our knowing? Ultimately, the saga of the long-lost vessel and its vanished occupants transcends the specifics of a single event. It crystallizes a fundamental aspect of human existence, our profound, often disquieting, relationship with the unknown. We are creatures wired to seek patterns, to construct narratives, and to yearn for the comforting embrace of a resolved story. When faced with an enduring enigma, particularly one where a tangible artifact emerges from the depths of time only to deepen the void, our cognitive machinery strains against the incomplete, compelling us to fill the gaps with speculation, theory, and a persistent, almost primal, curiosity. This human drive to complete the narrative, even when confronted with an intractable silence, speaks volumes about our internal need for order in an often chaotic world. Consider for a moment the humbling power of the unknowable. This particular revelation serves as a potent reminder that despite our scientific advancements and our ever-expanding reach, there remain vast tracts of experience, both geographical and existential, that resist total comprehension. The natural world, in its immense complexity and indifferent grandeur, often retains its secrets, not as a deliberate act of concealment, but simply as a function of its own intricate workings. It forces us to acknowledge the inherent limitations of our perception and our investigative tools, urging a degree of humility in the face of nature's profound mysteries. This ongoing quest for answers, even after decades, underscores a deeper, more enduring value, the intrinsic worth of persistent inquiry. Every question posed, every piece of evidence meticulously examined, even if it leads to further questions, contributes to a broader understanding, not just of the specific case, but of the very process of discovery itself. It refines our methods, challenges our assumptions, and ultimately sharpens our collective intellectual tools. The journey, in this sense, becomes as significant as the destination, shaping us even if the final destination remains elusive. Furthermore, the enduring resonance of such tales in popular culture reveals a collective fascination with the boundaries of human experience. These narratives become modern fables whispered across generations, imbuing certain landscapes with an almost mythical quality. They serve as psychological anchors, grounding our collective imagination in stories that explore themes of vulnerability, resilience, and the thin veil between presence and absence. The discovery, rather than demystifying the wild, ironically amplifies its enigmatic allure, reminding us that even in an age of pervasive information, pockets of genuine mystery persist. Shifting our perspective, this profound ambiguity also highlights the evolving nature of truth. What was once considered a definitive end, a disappearance without a trace, can, with a single, unexpected finding, be recontextualized into an open-ended question. This fluidity of understanding compels us to maintain an intellectual nimbleness, a willingness to revise our certainties in the face of new, however perplexing, data. It teaches us that truth is not always a static monument, but often a mosaic whose pieces emerge over vast stretches of time, sometimes only revealing the intricate patterns of what remains lost. Ultimately, the enduring mystery of the vanished individuals and their rediscovered craft is more than a cold case. It's a mirror reflecting our own insatiable curiosity, our discomfort with the unresolved, and our profound connection to stories that defy easy answers. It challenges us to look beyond immediate facts and to ponder the deeper currents of existence. What then does it mean to truly know something when the most compelling revelations only deepen the questions? And how does our continuous search, even for answers that may never fully arrive, shape the very essence of who we are? Reflecting on this journey so far, we've navigated through the intricate layers of a vanishing act, where the very landscape itself acts as both a canvas and a crucible for human experience. What began as a startling rediscovery has unfurled into a tapestry woven from the indifferent grandeur of an ancient wetland and the persistent, often agonizing threads of human inquiry. We've seen how geological forces and ecological rhythms conspired to create a realm where the ordinary rules of time and visibility are suspended, allowing for an improbable preservation that defies conventional logic. The very elements designed to reclaim and dissolve in a particular confluence, elected to hold one small secret in suspended animation, a silent testament to nature's unpredictable hand. Drawing these strands together, we discern a profound tension between the vast, almost cosmic indifference of the natural world and the deeply personal, fervent human drive for closure. The unexpected emergence of a long-lost object doesn't merely present a new fact, it fundamentally reshapes the emotional and intellectual terrain for all involved. It's akin to finding a single, perfectly preserved page from a lost manuscript, only to realize that the page, while undeniably real, only deepens the mystery of the complete, missing volume. This shift from a presumed, albeit tragic certainty, to a renewed, agonizing ambiguity is perhaps the most poignant implication of such a discovery, forcing a re-evaluation of what it truly means to be lost or found. In light of these insights, the path forward for those seeking answers becomes less a straightforward road and more a labyrinthine exploration. The passage of nearly 3 decades has not only blurred the lines of memory, but has also cast a long shadow over the efficacy of even the most sophisticated modern methods. The very notion of forensic certainty, so often portrayed as infallible, confronts its limits when pitted against the relentless, corrosive march of time and the pervasive forces of a dynamic ecosystem. This makes the investigative process less about uncovering pristine evidence and more about interpreting faint echoes, piecing together fragments from a narrative largely erased by the elements, a task demanding immense patience and an understanding of the environment's unique grammar. As we pivot towards the final reflection, it becomes clear that this story extends far beyond the immediate individuals involved. It touches upon our collective understanding of disappearance, the societal myths we construct around the wild, and the ethical dilemmas inherent in pursuing truth against overwhelming odds. The reawakening of such a dormant enigma serves as a powerful metaphor for the persistent human spirit, forever striving to impose order upon chaos, to find meaning where none is readily apparent. It reminds us that some questions, deeply etched into the fabric of time and place, may not yield simple answers, but rather invite us into a deeper, more enduring contemplation of life's profound uncertainties. The lingering questions, therefore, are not failures of inquiry, but rather invitations to a more expansive form of understanding. They underscore that the true essence of such mysteries lies not just in the eventual revelation of facts, but in the journey of asking, the process of seeking, and the enduring capacity of the human spirit to grapple with the unknown. This narrative, then, becomes a crucible for our own perceptions of existence and absence, challenging us to look beyond immediate answers and to appreciate the rich, complex tapestry woven from what remains hidden and what, against all expectations, chooses to emerge from the silent depths. The single weathered rope, clinging steadfastly to the ancient cypress in the heart of the Everglades, did not simply mark a discovery. It unspooled a profound paradox, fundamentally reshaping our understanding of loss, time, and the very nature of truth. For nearly 3 decades, the vanishing of Stephen and Susanna Thompson resonated as a chilling testament to the wilderness's capacity to erase, a closed chapter defined by an absolute, terrifying absence. Yet the re-emergence of their skiff, a ghost ship patiently awaiting its rediscovery, shattered that grim certainty. It was not a conclusion, but an unsettling reopening, a tangible link to the past that, with a cruel twist, only deepened the profound mystery, transforming a long-held sorrow into a renewed, agonizing question mark. This shift, from the despair of knowing nothing to the torment of knowing just enough to remain perpetually uncertain, forces us to confront the limits of human understanding in an inherently enigmatic world. The Everglades in this narrative transcends its role as a mere backdrop, asserting itself as a silent, ancient arbiter of fate. Its immense scale and intricate ecosystem, designed for constant reclamation and renewal, had seemingly absorbed all trace of the Thompsons. Yet in a rare, almost defiant act of preservation, it chose to hold onto their vessel, creating a micro-environment where time's relentless march was momentarily suspended. This humbling display of nature's power reminds us that while we strive to conquer and comprehend, there remain vast, untamed corners of our planet that operate on their own inscrutable terms, dictating when and how their secrets might be unveiled. The swamp, an indifferent and powerful force, does not give up its truths easily, and when it does, it often does so in a manner that challenges our neat categories of loss and retrieval. This enduring enigma, therefore, resonates far beyond the immediate tragedy, becoming a universal contemplation on the human quest for closure. We are beings wired to complete narratives, to find definitive answers, to impose order upon the chaos of the unknown. The Thompson case, now a renewed cold file, exposes the raw vulnerability of this impulse. It underscores the profound psychological toll of ambiguous loss, trapping families and investigators alike in a relentless cycle of hope and despair. It reminds us that some stories are not meant for neat resolution, but are instead destined to echo across generations, shaping our collective consciousness and imbuing certain landscapes with a haunting, almost mythical significance. The struggle to reconcile what is known with what remains stubbornly hidden becomes a mirror reflecting our deepest anxieties about control and the fragile illusion of certainty. The persistent pursuit of answers, even after decades, is not merely a testament to the dedication of law enforcement or the enduring love of a family. It is a profound affirmation of human curiosity itself. It highlights our innate refusal to simply concede to silence, our unwavering commitment to seeking truth, even when that truth is elusive and perhaps ultimately unobtainable. Each new piece of information, however fragmented, however ambiguous, contributes to a larger, ever-evolving tapestry of understanding, not just about the specific events, but about the very process of discovery and the complex interplay between human endeavor and nature's formidable power. This relentless inquiry, this intellectual and emotional odyssey, affirms our fundamental desire to connect with the past, to honor those who have vanished, and to glean whatever lessons the universe might offer, however cryptic they may be. As we step back from the specific details of the weathered rope and the ghost ship, we are left with a more expansive, reflective truth. The ultimate impact of the Thompson mystery lies not in a final answer, but in its potent ability to provoke ongoing contemplation. It challenges us to embrace the inherent uncertainties of existence, to appreciate the profound stories etched into the very fabric of our world, and to cultivate a deeper sense of wonder for the vast, untamed corners of knowledge that lie just beyond our grasp. The true practice begins now, not in finding a definitive end, but in the continuous act of questioning, of seeking, and of recognizing that some of the most profound insights emerge not from what is finally revealed, but from what forever remains whispered secrets in the heart of the wild.